Hey guys, we're back with another video from BlameTheNetwork.com. I wanted to cover a little bit more in depth the Cisco Virl network emulation solution. It is, if you haven't seen any other videos, it's essentially a competitor, if you will, although I don't like to say that because each different program has their own purpose and intent, but to the Cisco packet tracer as well as the GNS3 platforms. Packet tracer obviously is more for your entry-level CCNA type work for network simulations. A lot less you can do with that, whereas with GNS3 and Cisco Virl, it is an emulation platform where the iOS images are essentially compiled and run as if they would be on a real device. Reason I wanted to do another video on Virl, I've done one recently on comparisons of the overall interface between Virl, GNS3, and packet tracer, so feel free to look that up. But I want to do another video because I just got back from Cisco Live out in San Diego, California, and it was a great experience, wealth of knowledge to be gained throughout the whole conference. But I touched base while I was there with the Cisco Virl development team. They had a booth set up in the DevNet section of Cisco Live, and what you're seeing on the screen right now is front side of a T-shirt that I scored off of them. I was lucky enough that they hooked me up. But they were giving out some cool swag, some pens that were shaped like a syringe, kind of following the Virl name. The back of the T-shirt that I scored looks like this here. So I thought it was pretty unique design, pretty cool, good setup. But they covered pretty in depth what the software is capable of and some of the advantages to using it. Now again, this is a commercial solution for your network studying or network topology mock-up simulations, and GNS3, just as a reminder, is free and open source. However, as I've said at the beginning, they each have their own kind of purpose. So with that being said, let's jump right into what I wanted to cover real quick. First was some of the notes that I took during their DevNet session. This was before I met the team. I just kind of wanted to see what they had to say about it, and they had a time slot set up in the DevNet area for covering Cisco Virl and what you can do with it. So the general idea here was that Virl is kind of a Swiss Army knife, and you can build and make what you want with it. It's kind of a stepping stone for you to be able to do a whole variety of different things as far as network emulation goes. It is iOS essentially turned into virtual machines, so kind of nested virtual machines under the overarching Linux-based platform that it all runs on. They covered in depth kind of on the back end what all powers the thing. There's a lot of features in play. They did want to point out that Virl is not, it's not a replacement for ASICs. ASICs being, I think, application-specific IC. I'm trying to remember. I'd have to Google it real quick. But essentially, the boards, the chips, the things that are hardware dedicated to perform certain capabilities. So within the switches or whatnot, you have ASICs inside that speed up some of the packet processing, I should say. So there's certain features that Virl can't do, but honestly, that's the same thing you're going to run into with any network emulation platform. But they're getting better these days, all of them across the board, as far as integrating more and more features. They covered that Virl is now being used for CCIE route and switch for the testing environment as of a few weeks ago, and starting to see Virl pop up more and more in various locations. I was down in the World of Solutions where all the vendors are, and where they're scanning your badges to send you a bunch of spam email. But anywho, I saw Virl in a few locations down there set up and running, so that's kind of cool. Main purpose of Virl for rapid prototyping, testing new services, features at the same speed of the DevOps guys. So the guys that are able to spin up new VM servers in a moment's notice, that's always kind of been a bit of an issue for the network side of the house. You can't just spin up a new switch or a new router at a moment's notice to test out new features. So Virl kind of gives you that ability. They said that you can pretty much run it on a whole variety of devices, anything from a MacBook, which I know works, to an Intel NUC. Now, these NUCs are actually pretty cool little devices. I won't go in depth on them, but they're almost like little embedded kind of like the Raspberry Pis, except they're on crack. I mean, these things, it's got an i7 in it, 16 gigs of memory. That's what they were running their edition on during this DevNet session. And the thing was hauling, so it did a good job. And keep in mind, Virl is kind of intensive for hardware. So I've got it on a Dell PowerEdge T110, bit older server, but it can definitely test it as I put more and more devices and get them running. Let's see, cost savings was another big one, because you're obviously not having to buy a bunch of lab equipment. What you're getting a UI to configure your network topologies. You're getting Auto Netkit Configuration Manager, which they emphasized a few times. And essentially the idea behind the Auto Netkit is it takes out the drudge work, so you have less time spent troubleshooting with small problems. So the initial configuration of these devices, if you want to test out a feature but you don't want to have to start from the ground up and configure your interfaces and configure a routing protocol and all that, Auto Netkit handles that and takes care of it pretty well. So I'll touch on that again when I get into VM Maestro in a few minutes here. Multi-vendor test environment. They're saying that a lot of users have already ported over different operating systems to be able to run virtual servers. And obviously there's a slew of different iOS flavors that you can run. Seamless connectivity to real networks. This is online with what GNS3 already offers as well, being able to tie Virl into your real-world network, so then you can run different maybe network management software and tie them into your Virl devices. On the same note, kind of off topic here, this NetBlame OS that's running on my ESX server right now, that is a Linux-based project I'm working on right now, where I'm going to compile a bunch of network management tools into one free open source solution. I'm going to go ahead and release it open source, and it's going to be an OVA and probably an ISO as well. And it's going to have kind of a like a network monitoring solution, a NetFlow collector and analyzer, a syslog daemon, TFTP server, various things that you would want in kind of a network management perspective. Primarily, I believe the use will be for a home lab environment. And all the software stuff that's already available. I mean, you could spin this thing up yourself, but I'm just going to kind of try and take the dirty work out of setting up a network management solution and then release that OS so you can just import it into your virtualization environment and get something up and running real quickly and not have to deal with a commercial solution. So look for that in coming days here. Rapid setup and teardown, portability and repeatability. Obviously, those are generic across most virtualization platforms, not just networking alone. Limited to 15 Cisco nodes. Third-party VMs are not limited. Again, this stuff will tax your hardware as you kind of scale upwards, so just keep that in mind. Deployment, you can use the OVA, bare metal ISO, put it on whatever is capable of supporting it. I believe there are some virtualization requirements for the nested virtualization for doing the VM network devices, so that's something you may want to consider if you're going to purchase this. Make sure you have the hardware to support it. I'm going to skip over some of this here. Here's some of the things that they talked about running on the back end. KVM is the hypervisor that runs the nested network devices as VMs. KVM being an open source virtualization platform comparable to ESX to an extent. VM Maestro, the topologies are in an XML format, which I was not aware of, and that's pretty cool because it gives you the ability to kind of toss topologies over to coworkers or anyone else that you're working with, or even just kind of move them on the fly to another installation and jump right back into it. So that's kind of cool. XML being an open standard, that's good for importing and exporting. And integrated Git support for change management. Git, obviously, if you're not familiar, is a good way to keep track of kind of line-by-line changes on usually in programming environment, but obviously iOS configurations from someone on the outside probably will look like programming to an extent. Auto Netkit, already covered that, but it understands the OS-specific configuration, so the Nexus or the NXOS versus the regular vanilla iOS. And your ability to switch between those platforms somewhere else farther down here, I think it's covered. But if you set up your configuration how you run it now on iOS and then change your device over to an NXOS device, you'll be able to see what it takes to get your current configuration running on the NX platform or whatever you switch over to. So that's actually kind of a pretty neat ability to switch devices on the fly and see the configuration take change. That is about it. Documentation for Virl's on the actual Linux host itself. There's an open GitHub repository that they have for topologies and scripts. Some of the developers and I think users submitted content as well. And they were talking about they have APIs and kind of some, there's also some CLI functionality for you to be able to pull information from your devices from a CLI. So that is all I'm going to cover for that out of the notes from their DevNet session. And let's jump back over into VM Maestro. I should pronounce it correctly, VM Maestro. So VM Maestro is obviously the front end for this platform. And I thought it was Java heavy because it seems like I required Java to install it, but I saw a mention of NetBeans by one of the developers on a forum somewhere when I was just Googling around. So I know NetBeans is an IDE. I'm guessing it's still Java heavy and maybe just produced from NetBeans. But anywho, regardless, it's a pretty good front end. You have the ability to modularly move around these different windows just by grabbing them and kind of dragging them around. You can see how the window shows your ability to split them up in various ways, and you can resize them as well, obviously, and you can combine your windows so that you can save yourself some room. I don't have a full resolution showing for this video, so you'd obviously have some more space. In the middle, the meat and potatoes here, your actual devices, your palette for what you can put out on the emulation or your network topology is over on the left. So you've got tools, you've got your select and connect. General is going to be your connectivity to outside networks. And I don't know the functionality of all these. I'll try and come back later with that. But generally speaking, you can do a layer 2 or a layer 3 connection to an outside network. And how to set that up, there's pretty good write-up by Ralph, who is actually a Virl specialist. He was on hand at Cisco Live and very intelligent. All of the Virl team is cool guys, not just really smart guys. They're pretty laid back and easy to talk to about the software, so that's cool. But he did a good write-up of how to do flat connectivity, so essentially layer 2, sending it through a host device, putting that host in promiscuous mode and kind of routing the packets through. So if you just do a quick Google on how to connect Virl to an external network, that'll let you tie it in so you can use your own management software. Going back into Maestro, on devices you can add additional interfaces on the right if you'd like. But Virl also by itself handles connectivity and setup pretty well. So if I take a new, say, layer 2 switch and put it out here and go to the connect tool and connect the layer 2 switch to the layer 1, it's going to go ahead and put an interface on that layer 2 switch and do the configuration for me. And it's also going to show me the 2 ports associated, and you can see them over on the right as well. So they do a pretty good job of keeping you in the loop on how everything is connected here. Again, Virl is kind of more for what I would consider an NP or a CCIE level training for certifications and for knowledge, real world knowledge, which is obviously more important than a piece of paper. The ability for you to be able to set up these topologies and not have to worry about the initial configurations as far as configuring each individual port on each individual device. By the time you get to NP and IE level, you don't want to spend a bunch of time configuring individual ports on individual devices unless you're trying to do best practice, like set up your management VLAN, set up your VLANs in a numbering system that makes sense to you or matches what you're trying to simulate. So a lot of the dirty work from the Auto NetKit perspective is taken out of the picture. You don't have to worry about that. So you can just get a network topology up and running and start doing some of the more advanced capabilities. Again, the layer 2 switching and the ASA iOS are released as of April, I believe, of this year, 2015. So if you got your copy before then, make sure you update. Pretty seamless update process. I've got another video on that. That's about it. So let's do this. Well, if you click on the device, you go down to Auto NetKit down here on the bottom, which you can move around as you saw earlier. You can move it wherever you want. You can configure some some interior gateway protocols, some interior routing protocols. So for example, I can pick EIGRP and give it a, well, it says OSPF area. I'm not sure what that's all about. But I'm guessing because EIGRP, it's just going to give it an AS number that will work. But anyway, you can set up these various, actually, we'll do 0 here. You can set up these various routing protocols through Auto NetKit, and you don't have to, you don't even have to worry about configuring your routing protocol, going in and doing everything by hand. I'm just going to try and set up a routing protocol if this holds, and I'm pretty sure you can select multiple devices at once and set up the configuration for these things. so you don't have to do it one at a time like I'm doing. You can be even more efficient, and you'll get more efficient using the Maestro client as you go on with it. But so I set that up, and Virl already did the hard work of the configuration of the connections. So let's go ahead and build the initial configurations with AutoNetKit. There's a button right to the left of the Start Simulation button, and it asks you if you want to see the configurations made. So you can see how the changes that it made to the different interfaces, right? And it shows you in kind of a Git format as far as line by line. It'll show you the different sections and where everything was modified. On the left side here is actually the XML file. It appears this is an XML kind of looking setup here. So this is probably what it is. You can see up at the top XML 1.0. So this is what you would end up getting. You could probably save this, but there's probably a better way to export. I haven't done an export yet, but I do know it's XML based off of their DevNet session. So anywho, we're going to go ahead and open the AutoNetKit visualization. I closed out of the changes window there. Firefox is not my default browser. That's fine. So this is unique to Virl, not something offered by GNS3 or Packet Tracer. It's the ability to kind of have a web-based, dynamic visualized, I guess, view, to kind of double up on words there, of your topology. Okay, so you can mouse over these different devices, and you can see the IGP is OSPF. You can see what device subtype it is. This is IOSV. Different things that you set up on this, you can take a look, right? And the other thing you can do is you can switch your views. So we're at the physical view right now. If you go over to, say, a lot of these views are going to look the same because I have not too much running on them. Layer 3, obviously we don't have much going on with that. I'm assuming, I didn't look at the configuration, but we'll have to take a look and see how these switches are actually connected to the router, see how I handled that. And then OSPF, I guess we would need layer 3 to get anything outside of area 0. But you can already see ASN 1, area 0. If we had multiple routers connected together, we would see the different areas kind of broken down. But yeah, the AutoNetKit visualization is a unique feature to Virl, and kind of a cool way. You can zoom in, zoom out, look at your topology in different ways, move everything around. Going back over to Maestro, if you start the simulation. Well, what do you know? Got some resources freed up, got this thing starting up here. While I wait for these iOS images to build, because it looks like they're still building. Oh, they switched over to active. I want to cover one more thing. While I was at Cisco Live, I got hooked up by the Virl team with some discount codes for their Virl software. So celebrating 30 years of Cisco, there is 30% off the Virl Personal Edition, which is a pretty good discount. So these expire on June 19th. I've already passed some along to some coworkers and friends, but I have 4 that I'm going to go ahead and put out there for you to have if you're interested. And I will go ahead and send you the promo code. So two things to make it happen. Let me go ahead and bring up some badass fly-in content that looks real cool and has a lot of actually I'll probably just use this Word document, but anyway, so for the 30% off discount promo code, what I want you to do, if you can, is go ahead and tweet this right here. You don't have to have the quotes. This is going to go ahead and tag my Twitter account in here, and this will link to the page where this video is hosted, and kind of give people an idea of what it is that they can check out if they want to, and throw the hashtag Virl in there. If you check out hashtag Virl right now on Twitter, you'll see some of the images from the Cisco Live conference and the Virl team's booth in the DevNet session, or the DevNet area, I should say. So go ahead and do that. And then if you want to go ahead and send my account a DM message, or you can email oncall@blamthenetwork.com. That's oncall as in ONCALL @blamthenetwork.com. And let me know how you want me to send that promo code to you. I can send it through a DM if you message me there, or I can shoot it to you in an email. But go ahead and do that, and I'll fire those 30% off coupons over to you, or the promo code I should say, and you can pick up your copy if you're interested. It's a good piece of software for some certification studying. So back into the VM Maestro. Everything is powered up and running. And again, I covered this in the other video, but I just wanted to show you once more how you kind of dive into everything. So for the router here, I can just telnet to the console port, and you can see we're already in. The enable password is Cisco. When AutoNetKit does its thing and kind of sets up a basic configuration for you, it puts an enable password on there. But you're basically sitting at a CLI for this device, and if you connected it to an external network, obviously you could get in through that way using your own PuTTY or secure CRT or whatever you want to use. But this is your iOS spin-off. Now you can obviously put different devices in here as well. The layer 2 image works very well also for its own purpose. Let me move this over into the same window. This is taking advantage of the drag and drop interface here, which the front end developer, if I recall correctly, is based out of Australia, and he's a pretty cool dude too. So if you ever have the opportunity to meet any of the Virl team members, I suggest you do so. They're good guys. But so yeah, now I'm in the layer 2 image, and I got some interfaces. And you can see the switch port commands are enabled for the layer 2 image, the switch image. So you can set ports to VLANs, and it creates them for you, which it should anyway. You can set up port security. I'm assuming you can let's see, int VLAN 10 standby. So the commands for HSRP are there, tracking all that, your hot standby protocols. So anything that you would expect, port channeling. Yep, there's your ether channel, your port channeling capabilities. So yeah, you definitely can spin up some real world topologies here. Some other things that you can do. You can do a terminal multiplexer over here on the right side. Select all your devices that you're currently consoled into, and you can run a command on all of them. I'm gonna actually want to be out of configuration mode on that. Where are we at on this guy? Okay, so yeah, if I want to do a show run on all my devices, or even a show IP interface brief, we'll do that one. You can see over here on the router, there they are. Over here on the switch, there they are. So this is similar to secure CRT's built-in capability to send one command to a whole bunch of devices. But yeah, so there's plenty more that I didn't cover. There's plenty more things that I'm still learning about Virl, but that gives you a good idea of what you're getting into if you want to use Virl for your certification studies. And what I'm going to do also is I'm going to go ahead and get with the GNS3 team. Been in touch with them as well, and I owe it to them to get the latest and greatest of their software, see what they're looking at for future developments. I know that Virl has some things in the works that I don't know what all they're putting out. I'm sure what he told me is nothing sensitive, but I don't want to put anything out before it gets released. So just keep an eye on them. They're going to have some cool stuff coming out. But I'm going to go ahead and put another video together too on GNS3. And try and do a more in-depth video on what they offer as well. Because as I said, Virl, GNS3, Packet Tracer, they all have their own use in your certification studies depending on where you're at and what you're trying to do. And that's where I'll leave it for now. So look forward to some more content coming out. Keep an eye on Twitter, the website, and YouTube. Feel free to subscribe and all the above. And I'm going to go ahead and bring this back up here. Feel free to pause the video, take a look at that. If you want to get 30% off Virl and you're interested in picking it up for your certification studies, go ahead and tweet that out and send me a DM or an email to oncall@blamethenetwork.com, and I'll shoot a code back over your way. Thanks for watching.